Hey everyone, and welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. Can I get a reverb?
You can get a reverb.
As the title suggests, we're talking today about reverbs in a basic band mix, bass guitar and drums. We're going to do a little intro of the sounds themselves. Then Dougie will come in and we'll play some other stuff. But before that, housekeeping.
Housekeeping indeed. First of all, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We'd really appreciate it.
We would.
Also, a massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch. T-shirts and mugs and hats and pedals, and it's what keeps us going.
Indeed, all that stuff. Okay, quite a lot to get through today. It could go in every direction possible.
Indeed.
So we're going to try and draw some brackets around it and talk about basic reverb types. Mm-hmm. Won't be deep dives. We've done that in previous shows. So if you want to bone up on your reverb types, watch some old shows. What we're going to do today is just move through the basic reverbs you might encounter either in an amplifier or via your flashy reverb pedal. And just run through them and just how they sit in a basic band mix. Obviously, this gets more complicated when you've got more people in the band,
Indeed.
Keys, more guitars, but let's keep it simple so you can hear the reverbs. Why have we chosen these reverb pedals, Dan?
Well, Mick and I are going to do 3 sounds each, and these reverb pedals had all the sounds that we needed to use so we can, get to them quickly, sort of in the middle of a jam.
Yeah, they are both not cheap, but there's a couple of things specifically about the CXM that make it easier for me today, not least one of which is I've got the mix knob on an expression pedal there, as you can see. That there is a point to that, and some other things. I think you can just see the settings very clearly, and that's why we're using it.
Indeed.
But there's no reason why you can't do pretty much all of these sounds with something like a TC Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
To something much more attainable price-wise, but we've got these, so let's hear them.
Indeed.
Nothing stereo today either.
No.
Just mono, although it's dual mono, 2 amps.
Indeed.
And that's a pretty good place to begin, because the first reverb most of us hear in our lives, reverb for anyone in the States, is from our amp, right? So here we go. This is the sound of no reverb in our 2 amps. It is. Bit of reverb in the drums,
Yeah.
which you might be hearing. So I'll just switch it on in the 2-rock first. And there's quite a lot dialed into the deluxe reverb. Got foot switch on the floor, which enables you to turn the reverb on and off. So quite a lot of verb there from both of those amps.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing.
Really beautiful.
Most of us tend to use less than that, but just for fun, I'll turn it on in both amps. Yeah, baby.
Drippy.
Add some gain.
I think when most people would hear that, they would go, oh, that's unusable. But when you hear that in a mix,
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
It is really, really cool. I'm going to turn it down to something more normal,
Sure.
which is the amount of reverb I would use normally.
Okay.
Turn the DNM drive off. So a bit of tube screamer, well, jam, tube dreamer, should I say?
That's killer.
I might have inadvertently turned the tube rock up a little bit, trying to turn the reverb down.
That's magic.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, but it sounds glorious.
Yeah.
Let me just have a quick...
And for those of you really into your spring reverbs, it can get a bit more complex than that. You can start messing around with send and return levels, some call it dwell, anyway, and the EQ of it, which can all really radically change the sound of that spring reverb. But in most amps, you've just got the one control that says reverb, so that's what we've done.
And all those other things are set, right, in the amp?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The two rock does have a send and return, but another day. So I'm going to turn those two off for a sec. So now we're back to our no reverb sound.
Jimmy Vaughan.
The next reverb I would use is a room reverb. I'm going to use this for that. There we go. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is the sound of a room. And depending on what that room is made of, how big it is, determines the sound of your room. But to me, like, a small room reverb is not a million miles away from a short delay.
Right.
But much more complex bunch of reflections.
Sure.
So again, nothing.
Just awesome.
It's such a great sound. I really love it. If you're confused, I've got the expression pedal on the floor, which is determining the mix level. So how much of that reverb is mixed in with the dry sound. With none, it's this. And with lots, it's this.
It's so good.
Yeah, I probably would never use it that wet, but it gives you an idea of how that works.
Right.
So we'll hear that in the mix. You'll hear all of these back to back when we do some jamming. I'm going to move on from there. What you'll hear over so much music, especially from the 80s and 90s, is plate reverb. And where the room reverb is kind of very roomy, sounds like you're in a room with some old dude playing the guitar, or dudette. A plate is a much more refined kind of sound.
Right.
And it sounds a bit like this.
For me, plate is one of the ultimate guitar reverbs.
Yeah.
Like next to spring,
Yeah.
plate for me is definitely the other one.
Yeah.
If I had to have two, you know what I mean? It's just, there's something about the character of the plate that just works so well with the frequencies of guitar.
And I think it gives rise to that common criticism, which is the question that always comes up. Yeah, but it's all very well with your fancy reverbs. You can't hear them in a mix. Hopefully what we'll do in a second is prove that you can. Moreover, where you'll hear plate reverbs is all over mixes, vocals, guitars, everything. And it's almost like a glue.
Yeah, totally.
And it helps everything just sit in. Now, that might seem outrageous in the melee of your live mix, but again, hopefully, as we're about to prove, it can be really nice. We haven't got any chorus, have we? No. If you hear a plate reverb with a chorus, it's like instant Landau Lukather 80s.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. And then moving up from there, just before Dan takes off with the weirdy beardy stuff. So if we think about reverbs in terms of size, we start with our small room. Then probably the next biggest one is a spring, and then is your plate, especially if you have lots of it. Then we get into big rooms, right? And what do we call those? Halls, because they sound like halls. Just got one programmed into the CXM, and you'll hear it's kind of over the top, but we like that.
We like that.
I mean, to my mind, that's kind of hall plus.
Sure. Sure.
That's like cavern stroke canyon, isn't it?
Epic. Epic. Why don't we jam with those three and then we'll come back.
Let's mess around with space and time.
And we're back in the room. That was epic.
Epic.
Le
Totally
Grand
epic.
Epiche.
We obviously we haven't filmed it yet, so we don't exactly know. Come on then, Dan. Take me to Weird Town.
Okay.
Actually, don't do that.
Okay. So, in the intro, I use a swell reverb, and I love this. Basically, it's where you have the reverb's 100% wet. There's no dry signal in there, and it uses the attack of the guitar to open an envelope filter that feeds the signal through to the reverb. So you play something, you don't hear anything, and then the reverb just comes in, which for the sort of music that I like is quite awesome. So when that gate is open, and if you pick again, you'll hear the reverb.
Yeah.
So, if you want to use it for the swell, you need to play a chord and let it do its thing, and then come in with another chord, if that makes sense.
This is the pedal itself doing the swell. It's not you.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm literally just playing.
And it's the gate in the pedal that's determining the swell.
Exactly.
So on certain other reverb pedals, if you had an expression pedal, you could do it manually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do it with a volume pedal
Yeah.
going into the reverb. You know what I mean? So, like a volume swell from here,
Would do
for
it.
example,
Yeah,
would do
yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is it has its own character, and you can, I can have a really long swell here that takes a long time to sort of open.
Always good for the second verse in Johnny Be Good, I find.
Definitely. Down and loose. Yeah. So I love that stuff. The second one we're going to have a look at is what we call shimmer reverb. It's when the reverb effect has an octave put on it. And it can be really cool for, we're talking about textures here when we get to this sort of thing. And it just changes the voice of, especially with those sustained notes. So if I go... And for single line stuff as well, it can really fatten things up, and it just helps. I think for certain melodies, it can really help them stand out. Really beautiful.
I mean, your music is going to have to be relatively sparse, probably not at a very quick tempo, and not with loads of notes, in order to let that thing happen.
Yeah, for sure. But it can be. If you're providing a pad under stuff, then it's
So it's texture underneath something
absolutely.
else.
So it's
sure.
those sorts of things for two guitar band where
Yeah.
you don't have keys. These sorts of sounds are wonderful because they can thicken things up and just give a different bunch of frequencies for the other melodic instruments to do stuff over.
Yeah.
So I think the shimmer effects, and you have octave below, octave. You've got all these different pitch shifting happening on top of the reverb, and it can it sounds great. You take that that same sort of concept with any modulated reverb. So what we're talking about is taking the reverb effect and then manipulating it in some way,
Affecting it, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's where the Strymon Dark Sky, is that what it's called?
Yes, Night Sky.
Night Sky. That is a reverb, isn't it? Not
It is
delay.
a reverb.
Yeah, and that takes that to the nth degree.
Absolutely.
Mind
It's
you,
wonderful.
most of it's in the Empress there, isn't it?
Oh, it's all in the Empress. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's very cool. And the final one I'm going to show is what we call a reverse reverb. And basically, it puts a reverse delay in the reverb. And so it takes what you play and then for however long you want and then reverses that and then puts that through
The reverb. Yeah.
It's
How
just
cool.
Magic.
I think. I literally can't wait to hear that in the band mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and a lot of people love that sound going into like a heavy overdrive fuzz type thing, and that's
okay.
the shoegaze thing,
Right.
right? So,
If only you had that set up to
if only I
demonstrate,
had.
Dan.
If only I had. So what I'll do, I'm going to put the D&M drive on, and I'm going to put that into the reverse reverb.
Yep.
Then I'm going to switch it around and put the reverse reverb into the front.
So we're hearing D&M drive reverb and then reverb D&M drive.
That's right.
I literally cannot wait for this jam.
So it gets extra fuzzy and horrible because all that reverb, all those trails from the reverb are being distorted as they go through. So it's, it's well and truly over the top. But again, they're textural sounds and that, when you hear them in the mix, you hear them like that, it's like, okay, that sounds fun. But actually, you can really make them work, I think.
Well, let's see, shall we?
All right, here we go. And we're back in the room.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Trippy.
It was trippy.
Now, I don't know about you, but the thing I found hardest was switching between all the reverbs.
When you've got to, you're trying to play,
Yeah.
and you've got to think, hang on, I'm supposed to be showing that and that. It's like,
Yeah.
because the thing about reverb, certainly for me, I'll go off on one.
Really?
I don't know how long I was playing for then,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, hang on, I'm supposed to press that, come back and show that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we did manage a section without reverb, didn't we? So you can,
I did. I played a little bit with that
you can
reverb.
completely get the amount of lovely warm fullness that it brings to the
Totally.
game.
Totally.
It's great.
Yeah. Wonderful fun.
Doug, which was your favourite?
Actually, I like the white one.
Very good.
I like the white because it
What?
has a button.
It has the buttons. Yeah.
It was impressive.
And Doug, the buttons do this.
Sold.
Massive thanks to Dougie
Yes, thank
for
you, bud.
putting up with the trippy jams, I think.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was
Indeed.
really cool. Really
That's
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah, so what do we say? Huge, spacey, trippy reverbs. Good for that kind of thing, but also good textures in any kind of, prog or any kind of progressive genre, I think, sitting underneath.
For those sorts of textures, absolutely.
Yeah.
But when we go back to the start with the spring reverbs and stuff, I mean, so much music that we love is dripped in that sound.
I think you can fit a spring and a plate and a room into most of your sort of
Absolutely.
average cover band set. And then the trippier stuff.
Say for your prog gig.
Well, I just wonder if it needs a little bit more thought from everyone and it is more of a jammy, experimental or compositional thing.
Totally. Yeah.
So cool though, the textures. And again, if you had another guitar or keyboard player or another instrument, laying those pads and all
Sure.
that huge stuff down underneath.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
Yep.
Groovy.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch, hats, t-shirts, and extra paraphernalia. It's what keeps us in business and keeps the lights on.
Indeed. That's all the merch from thatpedalshowstore.com. If you want to buy pedals and you're in the US, please check out thatpedalshop.com, which is kind of new, and you'll find lots of lovely pedals there.
Indeed. A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much, you lovely people.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you. And also a massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surreyshire.
where you can get most of this. Also, a massive thank you to our dear friends in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane and Queensland. Please hit them up online or go and see them if you can with everything that's going on.
Wonderful. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you on Monday for viewers, comments, and questions, where we can talk about reverbs and all this fun stuff.
Indeed. I need a lie down.
Me too. All right, have a great day. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.